Well, hello. My name is John, and I want to talk with you about a crazy day I had. So, the other day in Spanish class, my buddy Bart asked the teacher where to put the homework. And then get this, he said, "You can put it in the class box." Wow, right. I mean, how did I not see it before? I realized the word it is something really special. In English, we use it to replace, everything, or almost everything. Anything we can touch and hold, smell, like a noun, a person, place, or thing. We use it when we're doing something with this noun, like throwing it, eating it, lifting it, those action words or verbs. So now you're asking me, why is this so important? Well, here's where it gets even crazier. In class that day, our teacher, Mrs. Krabappel, was planning on teaching us all about this crazy word, it, in Spanish, but she said you call them direct object pronouns. I know you're asking yourself, what? That's what I was thinking. But it makes sense. Mrs. Krabappel said the direct object pronoun is the object that directly receives the action of the verb. I'm still not sure, but I see that's where they get the name. Well, let's see it in action. Let's look at phrases in English when an object is receiving the action. I help the dog. He calls John. They have a game. You hit the ball. All these words have a verb, which you can see in yellow, and they have an object that is being acted on by the verb, which is in green. Okay, maybe it's making more sense. Now let's see if it works the same in Spanish. Here are the same phrases in Spanish with the verb and object highlighted. Okay, now let's replace the object with the pronoun. Remember it? First, I want to show you some pronouns, but don't worry about memorizing them because you already know them, you just didn't realize it. Okay, let's take a look at a couple of sentences to see how these direct object pronouns would be used. Look at these sentences. John helps his father every weekend. John helps his father with yard work, and John helps his father take out the garbage and recycling. Okay, now let's find those verbs and objects. I see the verb help and the object his father. But if I was talking to a friend, I wouldn't say my father every single sentence. I'm lazy and I would put a short pronoun in there. See, what I would say, I would use him to replace my father. I bet you're thinking, yeah, I do that. So I would say John helps his father every weekend. I do. He helps him with the yard work and he helps him take out the garbage and recycling. See how it replaces it? Okay. Wow. That's a lot of English. What about Spanish, right? Okay. Let's look at the pronouns we use in Spanish. We've conjugated lots of verbs in Spanish. So let's look at pronouns in relation to Spanish verbs. Okay, here they are with the English translations as well. All right, now let's look at them in a sentence. I'm just going to focus on lo and la for now, as that's what you use for objects. Here's the sentence. Yo ayudo el perro, which means I help the dog. El perro is the object, so in English it would be I help it. But now I have to think about which pronoun I'm going to use in Spanish. El perro is masculine, so I would use lo. So it would be yo ayudo lo. Wait. Oh yeah, Spanish is a little different. The pronoun goes before the verb. If I move it in front, it becomes yo lo ayudo. Okay, there we go. I've got to remember that for our test tomorrow. Let's look at some sentences. Let's look at those first sentences we looked at in English. Now let's put it in Spanish and replace my father, or mi padre, with a blank for the direct object pronoun. Remember, it has to go before the verb. So we put it before the verb help, or ayuda. El padre is the object, and it is masculine. So that means I use lo. Now let's put them in the sentences. Cool. I'm starting to get this. I bet if I was talking about helping my mom, then I would just use la instead of lo, right? Because it's feminine. Madre. Let's see if it works. Madre is feminine. Feminine is la. Él la ayuda a trabajar en el jardín. Y la ayuda a sacar la basura y reciclaje. It works perfect. Great. All right. Let's look at the pronouns in example sentences. Él llama John, and I'm John, so he's talking about me. Yo ayudo a Bart, and this is as if I'm talking with Bart. Yo como helado, and I do love to eat ice cream. Yo ayudo Sarah. Él ayuda la clase de español 1, which is our class. Ella lleva los libros y ella ayuda las chicas. Okay, now let's take out the object and replace it with the object pronoun. Remember to put the pronoun in front. Él me llama. Yo te ayudo. Yo lo como. Yo la ayudo. Él nos ayuda. Ella los lleva. Ella las ayudó. Oh, I forgot to mention that we still need to make sure to conjugate the verb based on who is doing the action. So with ella las ayuda, she is helping the girls. So conjugate ayudar for ella. Ella ayuda. Don't forget to conjugate the verb. Great. So let's go over what we talked about. What I learned today was what a direct object pronoun is, what they look like in Spanish, how to use them to replace an object, and where they go in the sentence. Awesome. Thanks for listening, guys. I just couldn't believe my day was also connected. I had to tell someone. Adios.